can use 2 cents. Hello to my blue friends, get another spinning and they call it revolution. Loose lips, fatter than a new tits. Glass make her think it's ruthless. Deuces, 2 cents.
What's up, guys? Hope you're all having a great day. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're coming back, welcome back. All right, guys, today we're doing a Sunday live with KKTV. I'm joined here by the lovely Lavender Mexican and the equally lovely Noli D. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing okay. So what have you guys been up to? Let's start with you, Noli. What have you been up to? We haven't seen you in a while.
You know what? Nobody has. Like, I've been around, but not around. Like, it's getting harder to kind of give a shit. But I've been doing a lot of sculpting, and I've been kind of chilling in the background, kind of watching everybody and their behavior. Really.
Okay, sounds good. Lav, what about you?
Not a whole lot. I had a friend die. Very close, very, very close, dear friend. The last time we were live, remember?
Oh yeah, you said they had the heart attack. So he ended up dying.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He died the next day. Yeah, his funeral was Friday.
So sorry to hear.
It's it is what it is. He has 2 kids. One of them is a godchild, and he's at an impressionable teenage,
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's trying to do a lot to be there, especially for the kids, not leaving the mom out at all. But, the kids are really important. So,
absolutely.
And it's, they kind of, especially the older boy, already has kind of a hard time with school and stuff. He's just a little bit slow, just a little bit. He's got some learning disabilities, but he's a huge kid. And so, we're all trying to pitch in and make sure that we keep his activities up and keep him interested in things and all that wonderful stuff. But yeah, Dad will be missed.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone keep the family in your prayers, even if you don't know them. This is something that can happen to anybody at any given time. So
at any age?
I'm sorry?
I said any age.
Yeah,
yes, any
absolutely.
age. He was what, in his early 40s, not even 40 yet.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, a lot of stress.
Yeah.
A lot of stress.
Hank, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Great.
Condolences to you and the family, Lavender.
Oh, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well today.
Your recovery's going super well?
Still fighting the VA to try and get my cardiac rehab going, but
well, I have to say, you sound really good.
Still fighting the VA to try and get my cardiac rehab going.
Can you turn?
The VA's rough. Well, I have to say, you sound really good.
Can you turn your sound down, Richard? You're like, you got the stream going on in the background. We can hear ourselves.
You sound.
Hello, everybody.
You got to turn the stream. You got to turn the volume. Close the window for the stream. You don't need it anymore.
There you go. How's that?
I think that's better. No, it's still on. You got to turn the volume. Close the window for the stream. You don't need it anymore. All right, Gary. While we're waiting, how you doing?
Hey,
Wrong
man,
stream.
how you doing? I just now got your notification, man.
It's late. I don't know what's going on. YouTube's messing up. I think YouTube is shadow banning me. I don't know.
Sorry to hear about your friend, Lev.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you know him very long?
About the past 15 years.
Oh, wow. You guys on a force together?
No, he's a fire investigator.
Oh.
Or was.
Yeah.
But
it's okay, Richard. Thank you for trying.
But yeah, he's was a fire investigator, so
Yeah.
a subcontract. He had his own thing, you know, but he worked with one certain company most of the time.
Yeah.
So the guy that he subcontracted for has agreed to buy all of his equipment from his wife to help, you know, with money, because they have a condo, they're paying rent on a house.
Right.
So, and that's where a lot of the stress came in, was his wife doesn't work really, kind of here and there.
Yeah.
And so all the bills to pay the house payment on the condo, which is empty, and the rent on the house was over $2,000 a month. And
ooh, wow.
Yeah, and being a fire investigator, it's not a everyday thing. He only gets paid if he's investigating a fire. So, you know, he was kind of, and then he's got 2 kids that are in like every activity known to man. And just feeding the family and everything was getting to be a lot.
Wow.
All right, so are you guys ready? We're going to get started. We're going to watch a video. This is from Downey Transparent Eye. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Downey Transparency Eye. He's one of the West Coast auditors. You'll see.
I don't like them.
Oh, lavender.
I mean, it's pretty much everything going there.
Hey, Desert.
Hello there.
All right. It's in public. Okay.
Oh, no, not this.
Yep.
Is that Silent Boy he's with?
I'm not sure. I think he usually hangs out with SGB.
doubt.
Yeah.
Curry.
At least have the common decency to learn some real hand signals.
Right? It's a very good question, Nice Media. Why would you record an auto shop? Unless they're pissed that said auto shop. Thank you, Tartan Army.
I mean, you know that they're not respecting people's rights in there, you know? Gosh, hell yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. The biggest tyrants on planet Earth.
There are civil rights violations all over
the wazoo. Right up the wazoo.
Jeez.
Horrible.
Hey, Kenny, they are bar members, by the way. You know that, right?
They are bar members? Who?
Yeah. The auto shop.
Which bars?
They have to follow. They have to follow the Bureau of Automotive Repair Manual regulations.
All right.
I thought you were
You
referring
might
to
be flush.
stud shop.
Oh my God, you're so right, Random Bastard. There are mostly white cars. Target says, but they're all after me. See all the white cars.
Yeah, the white cars are getting attention first.
Oh, it's a white truck.
Yep. It was a conspiracy.
That is an ugly van. I'm sorry.
It is. You're right.
I can't hold it anymore. That is an ugly van.
Hey, looks they got the American flag up there waving. That's good, eh?
Did
Yeah.
they go to the dealership going, can I have a seafoam green minivan, please?
Right. Do you have any of those offhand? Yeah. I'm thinking that was the dealership's white whale. The car they could never get rid of.
They're not even explaining what the fuck they're doing there. It irritates the crap out of me. There's
Well,
no
no,
way.
it's,
I would not put
and
this on and stay there. I would move on within 30 seconds of silence.
see, here's the thing. In a lot of time, like the last video that this guy did with SGV, they were doing this whole thing. They got a bunch of people came out, were asking them what they were doing. The cops were end up called, and then as soon as the cops show up, oh, you're a pussy, blah blah blah. And it's like, really,
Uh-huh.
what are you trying to do at this point? That's like there's no point in any of this. It's ridiculous.
Is this the
Trying
same crew that got in the fight in the back of the looked like some food shipping or grocery store or something?
Yeah, this is actually some of the same people that go around with Casey Camera Boy and Furry, and I think SGB was there when Casey got beat up. I think he was there. I know Silent Boy was there too. I don't know if no Downey Transparency Eye was there as well. So yeah, this is the West Coast group of auditors. They don't care about government accountability. It seems they're more worried about, well, let's see what we can do to make these people mad and get views. That's what they care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw one where they're auditing a dry cleaners.
That's a SGV.
Yeah.
Does he mean round
Yep.
2? Nothing happened at round 1.
Yeah.
Hi, Ronan of Anger. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, Taco. Hi, Hornet. Richard.
What's your name? Should I call the cops and find out and have them ask you who you are? It's illegal to be doing what you're doing right now. You understand that, right? All right, I'll just go.
Was he doing the sign language back to him?
Stop.
You're recording my fucking Got one on the way. He said off to be here about 5 minutes.
Right, the Hornet? Right, Nancy? Make sure you guys hit that like button, please. Really helps out the channel.
Yeah, by the way. Sharmutas. Bunch of sharmutas you are.
Well, at least you're not committing the high crime of filming a portrait.
Right?
Infidels. Bunch of infidels.
The fuck was that? Seriously?
Them being adults.
Right? Good lord.
Hello. Hello.
I think he's only capable of talking out his ass.
They're finally devolving.
They don't have far to go.
Right?
You're good.
At least he's having a good time with them. This is a Downy Transparency Eye. With SGV, I'm assuming. I like this guy.
They need to do what I suggested in a comment one time, was just play an Eagles song and they'll scurry away.
Well, yeah, very mature.
Mm-hmm.
What is IQ is?
Yep.
Mother shoot. Mother shoot ya. Utia. Mother shoot.
Isn't it a little racist to try and mimic somebody else's language like that? I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, it is. Absolutely.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Pisses me off.
Well, that was
Yeah,
a total
definitely.
waste of time.
That was really horrible. The cops didn't even show up. They pretty much showed their just utter disdain for just anybody other than themselves. Like I said, I believe that's SGV. And I know that's Danny Transparency Eye. Okay. So that's the video we're going to take. So now today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Noli. Noli has something you want to talk about. Desert Sentinel is up to help her talk about this. So Noli, go ahead.
Sorry, hang on. Zip it.
How you doing, Noli?
Hi, guys.
You asked me if I was busy. It sounds like you're pretty busy. You're always busy.
Right? AJ just walked in the door, and so I push-ups. No, you're not making me do push-ups. You go play with your dog. So I just wanted to bring attention to, well, Desert Sentinel and his group of sleuths, I guess, for pointing out more sex offenders that are trying to weasel their way into the activism community here on YouTube, because if it weren't for them, it would be way worse than it is. Everybody's got to weed out their own. And if it weren't for people like Desert Sentinel, we would not have the information that he gets. He takes the time and the energy, and he finds these people. He finds their real name. He finds out everything about them. And yeah, it kind of sounds a little intrusive when we hear this person did this to an 11-year-old girl. It's
Well, I was explaining to Noli quite briefly when she contacted me that I had nothing actually really much to do with this. I was made aware of it, and I still haven't even really gone into it. I had a couple other projects going on that were a little more timely, and my understanding, it was based on some comments that were being made in live streams, and somebody's curiosity was piqued. And they did a search, you just poke around, and came up with this person's SOR report, Sexual Offender Registry in Texas.
Okay.
Somebody had made note of the link, and then Booty Wart put out his video, kind of pointing it out, a real quick video. Basically, he said, you can go look for yourself. It's there. And that was that. Well, there was some discussion, oh, wow, this is crazy. I mean, I looked at it briefly, the report online, and I went, oh, okay. And then, Jack Miller went live. Jack Miller was talking about extra good citizens arrest. Of course, Jack Miller was saying, I guess his title was from a police officer's perspective, yet he was never a patrol officer or sheriff or anything. He never did anything in a patrol car on the street. I don't think he's ever affected an arrest. So, I dropped in his live stream, was going to ask him something cheeky. When I saw this individual, this News Now, see, I keep getting his name screwed up. Permian Basin.
Times
he changed it actually to.
Oh yeah, we saw that last night too. Yeah.
Or something like that.
He changed it 3 different times. Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps changing it, and people like that need to understand that they're not wanted on either side of this fence. They are not fucking wanted.
Yeah, he also has like 8 aliases on his SOR report anyway. So.
Wow.
Well, it was like, oh, okay, and so my focus was redirected to this guy, and I went, hey, tagged him. I said, I just got some information on you, and he's like, oh yeah, what was that? And I was being, playing coy, being stupid. And I said, I don't know, it's something about an ROC.
ROC.
And I don't remember the reply. I think there was, and because I was typing immediately after, I says, I don't know. I can't recall exactly what it is. Something about a registry is how I think I put it. And then Jack was closing his live stream, within a minute later of me even arriving. It was at the end of whatever he was doing. So, next thing I know, I go back into Discord, and next thing I know is there's a post that this guy went live, and he says, Desert Sentinel, why are you hiding? And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be right back. So I went in there, and I guess he was explaining himself. I came in pretty late on that one too. It was only like a 10-minute stream. And I asked the question in chat. I said, why are you on the SOR? And I got banned.
Oh wow.
So I jumped into a different Desert Sentinel account. Go ahead.
Hold on for a second. Failed abortion, who are you?
Yeah, this is kind of stinky there. There's something going on with that one.
Yeah, what's going on, failed abortion? Let me.
Hello, people.
Hey, Gregory.
What's up, Asian?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Kenny.
Asian.
Hey, panel.
Hey, Asian.
Hold on, guys. Failed abortion, what's up?
Hey guys.
Okay. Just had to make sure you weren't trying to porn bomb or something.
Hey, Asian.
I got a porn bomb story too that
Hey,
goes along
Greg.
this. So,
Hey, Asian.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Asian.
Lavender.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Noli. Hi, Hank.
How you doing?
Hi, Asian. Hi, failed abortion.
All right,
so
go ahead.
I get banned, so I switched to a different Desert Sentinel account. I got a couple, and I saw that my comment was gone, and I said, I really hate it when I get banned like that. And I got banned again. He never acknowledged me being there. He called me out to show up. He never acknowledged that I actually showed up. So I heard him say something about he was going to go to Upstate Audit's panel. They were talking auditor things, reviewing auditor videos. So I popped over there and I did the @mention thing to see if he was in the chat. He wasn't there. And then I went back a minute later and then he was there. So it's like, oh, okay. So I joined the panel. In fact, for a second, they were a little suspicious of me, thinking I was going to porn bomb him. When he finally let me up, I said, I'm not going to porn bomb you guys. He
I'm
didn't
porn
say
bombing
it.
Kenny right now.
Yeah, I
Kenny.
know it, Greg.
Hey,
So
Kenny, you like my porn bomb?
Oh no, Greg's a little too hairy.
So I just told him, I'm like, hey, hi guys, how's it going? I just want to take a second of your time here, and I noticed that News Now. See, I still screw it up.
Permian Basin.
Premium Basin is in your chat. I just wanted to let him know that I did show up to his live panel. He, wanted me to show up apparently, and I was immediately banned. So I can't any questions of him if his mods or him or whomever's banning me. So just wanted to let him know that, and thanks a lot, guys. And that was about it. We those guys were accommodating it. They were really cool, invited me back, that sort of thing. So that was about it of my involvement until Wolfie Gladley was having a panel later that evening. And this guy showed up as his something. He had changed his name. And he showed up as a different name and was talking in panel. And then Andrew showed up, and then Peanut showed up. And when Peanut finally got everybody's attention, she kind of broke it to them. Hey, you got this guy in here. He's a child predator, and we don't need that kind of people in our community. And they're all, whoa, wait a second. We're not going to do that here. And it's like, well, I've already seen the documents. It's true. And then Andrew came back and showed probably something out of the Texas State Department of Corrections website, which I've seen before, showing some criminal history, including the sex offense, and telling them this is true. Here's the case numbers. Here's the dates. Here's the offense. And then that's when he was rapidly changing his name over and over again, and Booty Wart was was posting every name change on his channel in a quick
geez.
little video clip. So he was drastically backpedaling. But I haven't really, somebody had grabbed the original video of him, asking me, where I was, and I know he was doing some explaining there. I haven't really gone over it in detail. Hi, Peanut. There's Peanut. Peanut knows. Peanut can verify my story
And
here. Because,
FYI, he is now going by H&H.
yeah, that was the last.
H&H.
That was the last transition. But I mean, Peanut wasn't like reading them the riot act, but she was being pretty firm with everybody in Wolfie Gladley's panel last night discussing it. So, cheers to Peanut, and also Andrew. And then later on, I saw Andrew was online. See, this is the problem. I'm old. Okay, guys. And I can't stay up till 3 a.m. every night doing chasing panels.
Right, absolutely.
I'm having difficulty this morning. But Andrew have you seen the new guy, Keeping It Criminal?
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, he was on there, and I came into the middle or end of their discussion, and he was, I liked what the guy was saying. I mean, he was being fair. He was coming in, giving his perspective, and it's like, this, I can agree with what you're saying, and so I wanted to pop in really just to kind of catch this guy, and we had a little discussion, which was really good. And Andrew was like, "Wow, my panel, the Drama Dome was really good tonight." and then Andrew and I we discussed a little bit of the night's events that surrounding this event. So that's kind of where I'm at. I was not the one who broke this. I wasn't. Like I said, I had some other things that I was focusing on that I had on my to-do list, and we'll see where that goes. So it's kind of a deadline thing.
Yeah, see, I never even heard about that. I hadn't been following it. I've had a bunch of things going on too, and so I haven't really been keeping track of everyone's channels and all that. But I do like Booty Wart, and that's just you're right. I don't think anybody wants that on their side of the field. And as far as knowledge, you were saying it kind of, earlier when you first started, you're like, well, it looks kind of shady because, you're looking at someone's, not really. If someone says something stupid, and, this is all public knowledge, they make it public knowledge so who's moving into your neighborhood, who you're allowing your family, your children to play with or associate with. So I don't really think it's very shady at all. I don't think many people would believe that's shady, because I think it's kind of shady when someone tries to hide that from someone. And then again, there's nothing wrong trying to reinvent yourself, but you got to own your shit, By the way, Agent, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, I don't make any bones about it. My focus is on this genre community. When there's an arrest, we want to follow that case. We want to see where it goes, and when you're doing the research to find that case, sometimes you fall down a rabbit hole with certain individuals that can be multi-state in some cases. So but you got to look at things like this. So you guys, does everybody know about News Now Cleveland?
No, I never heard of him.
No.
Never heard of him. You know why? He hasn't been around for a while. This is the guy who had the brick thrown through his window. He had Tommy Gun Schneider that used to prank him.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was just kind of. He was kind of this, I don't know. He would run around Cleveland and make videos. He got into one of the more notable ones. He got into like this pissing match with some woman who was like maybe changing the diaper or something on a grandchild in a car, and they were up in a parking lot, and he focused his camera on him, and this woman wasn't taking any of it and was getting pissed off, and the police came, and there was shoving, and it was it was a total public freak out show. And but the biggest thing is he had this Tommy Gunn Schneider hassling him, pranking him on YouTube, somebody local that knew who he was, putting videos up of him. And I mean, it was just really just random cringe for the most part, especially when he had first there was some rock that came through his window. There was a hole. And the next thing you know, a brick, he shows this brick like sticking up out of the wall way up in the air, like it was launched out of a cannon, an air cannon or something.
Shit.
It's like, how the hell did that brick get up it's like there? This is apparently he lived on the second story of this apartment, and this brick is like 10 feet in the air and a vaulted ceiling on the wall. It's like, what the heck? And while he's doing this live stream, something else comes through the window and hits him. And he does this like screaming pratfall in front of the camera. Like he looks at the camera to make sure like he's in front of the camera holding his side, and then falls over in front of the camera. It was so dramatic.
Wow.
So dramatic.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In sports, we call that a flop.
Yeah.
The ultimate Vladi. Remember Vladi Divac? They called it the Vladi flop.
Yeah. The Vladi. They actually created an NBA rule against it.
Yeah, they did.
So bad.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's the punchline. News Now Cleveland is on trial for a sexual offense for child predatory nature over something that occurred over Instagram with
I hope he gets like $1 million a year.
The victim is 13.
Oh, fuck that.
And this is a real victim. This wasn't a police sting.
Flash.
This is an actual child. So he's got that going for him right now.
That's just horrible. And anybody that's doing that doesn't need to be standing up for anybody's rights, like at all. I mean, fuck them. They need to just crawl under a rock and never be heard from again.
Yeah,
and die.
That's beyond it.
I'll say it.
Yeah, I didn't break that either. Somebody else found that one too. I mean, I'm not the all-powerful Wizard of Oz, so.
God damn it, Desert! I thought you
I
were.
know, right? God,
for fuck's sake, you got one job.
We still.
I do have one job, and that's for me to collect files. That's what I do. I can collect files. I'll take the time. I just spent, and OG2 knows it. I talked to him, asked him about his court case, and it's been adjudicated, and I went back to the court system and downloaded the whole thing. Just but it completely unrelated to. He's been out of the game for quite a long time. This is more of a kind of a internal little curiosity thing, and the fact that the court system that he went through has this beautiful open public records portal where it has every single document imaged per the docket, and you can download each image for free. And there was 37 documents. So yeah, that was fun last night.
Damn.
In fact, I had to erase my file and start over because I lost count somewhere. But that's my job, Gregory. That's what I do. So I do have one job.
Well, Desert, you keep up the good work, man.
Absolutely. All right. So now we're gonna move on to a different subject. Earlier in the week, I brought up a poll, and in the poll, I asked the question: is there a reason to watch the cops? And the reason I posted this question is because there are a lot of people on the other side of the fence that believe that we're all bootlickers. We're all cop lickers. We don't think there's a bad cop. We don't think cops should be watched and stuff like that. So I thought, well, let's prove them right or let's prove them wrong. And so what do you guys think? Do you guys think they're approved right, or do you guys think they're approved wrong?
And with that, Kenny, I'll take a bow, and you guys carry on, and I'll turn the speaker up, but I got to get back to a couple more chores around here. All right, bud?
All right, thank you, Desert.
I always
Alright, Desert.
thanks a lot. Thanks, Noli, for the invite. All right, we'll catch you later.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No,
So what do you guys
thank
think?
you.
Lab, what do you think? Do you think they were proved right or proved wrong on the fact that we all do not believe there are bad cops, and there's no reason cops should ever be watched? What do you think?
Oh yeah, Kenny, they're saints.
No, I don't believe that they're all good.
No, I was
but I
just
really
being
don't.
sarcastic.
And but I really don't see the point in standing there and possibly being an issue, especially starting an issue.
Noli, what do you think?
Well, I think that the police do need to be watched, just like I think that the cop watchers themselves also need to be watched. Like I said, with people like Desert Sentinel, we don't want child molesters and child rapists in even associated with any of us, really. I mean, there might be a couple people that are okay with it, but they're not okay with it. They just don't want to say, they don't want to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to that, offend away, because there's no room in life for that kind of fucking person.
Also,
hey, shut your fucking
porn
mouth.
stars.
Greg, what do you think?
Well, there's a yes and no. If you now, mind you, I was a little kid, but I learned about it. The Rodney King thing.
Uh-huh.
It was good the cameras were around to see how disturbing that was. But the bad thing is, like, nowadays with frauditors and everything, you could stand and watch the cops, whatever, but don't insert yourself into the situation where you become the problem and you are the dumbass that gets arrested. And then you're going to end up e-begging on YouTube.
But those cameras at Rodney King weren't there on purpose.
Well, I don't know, but they caught it, so.
I know, but they weren't there to intentionally film the cops. It just, the event started happening, they pulled out video cameras.
But wasn't it from a helicopter cam?
No, it's from some guy's balcony.
No, I think it was from somebody.
Oh.
I don't know, but I was a little kid, but I seen the video, which was highly disturbing.
Yes, it was. I'm not taking away from the incident. I'm just saying that those people weren't there following the cops around, waiting for a traffic stop or a crash or standing outside the police station. They just happened organically that they saw this occurring, So
I think if cops aren't going to have always on body cams and dash cams, then people like Irate Productions, thank God he's around. I thank God he's around.
Okay. Asian, what do you think?
So, I mean, in general, I think there's always good and bad in anything in life. As far as the cops are concerned, do I believe they're bad cops? Absolutely, they're bad cops. Do I believe there's more bad cops than good cops? Absolutely not. These isolated incidents, unfortunate as they are. And fundamentally, I believe that everyone should be held accountable to a certain degree, especially law enforcement, right? But I don't believe that, auditing them is a great tactic. To Greg's point, if you make yourself an equation, then it's really not good, right? And ultimately, what are you fixing at the end of the day? But I do believe everyone should be held accountable, maybe through things like always on body cams. That's why I keep going back to defunding the police. I think it should be the converse. Give them more money so every officer on the front line can have an always on body camera. and then it gets uploaded to the cloud and backed up into these, databases or servers or whatever the case is. So they can't pick and choose when they want to turn it on and turn it off. As soon as they're on shift, it should be always on.
Yeah, you gotta be able to turn it off at some point, though.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing: what they've done with that is, as soon as the officer decides to turn it off, the camera continues recording for like a minute or 2 minutes after they hit the off button. So they think it's off, but it's not. So that actually has caught some officers doing the wrong thing. They actually caught an officer groping a unconscious woman with this method. So there are cops that will try and turn it off to get away with certain things, but luckily they have this. And the only reason they caught is because of they do like reviews of like random reviews of body cam footage, and they caught him somehow. That's how they caught him.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. I think they should be able to turn it shouldn't have to show them using the bathroom. What if some fucking hacker from Russia or Korea or wherever gets on and says, look at cops using the bathroom? Come on, no one wants to see that shit.
Hey, there's sick people out there.
I know. I agree.
They'll watch everything.
I know,
But
Just
you
like
know,
they have a porno for everything.
at some point, there's still a human messing with that recording, and I don't mean messing as in a bad way or good way or altering it in any way. I'm just saying at some point a human has contact with that video, so there's always a chance of contamination of some sort or something being deleted or whatever. So we always have to keep that in mind. Nothing is foolproof.
No, but from what I understand, the way they're kind of combating that is, it's all uploaded to a cloud. There's a separate company that handles all the footage from the body cams. The police never have anything to do with the body cams. It's all a separate company. It's all in the cloud. Police don't have any access to edit video at all. They don't have, from my understanding, that's the way it works. But yeah, Photoshop is real, and these companies, they could be doing this too. You're right. I mean, human error.
And you don't know who's paid off a company guy. But yes, when they drive into, like our system used to be when they drove into the Sally Port at the jail or up to the station, they would automatically download to this hub thing, that would recognize that it was there and would pull the videos. But what did that say? It's not cop watching. It's what?
Oh, it's not. It's cop. What is it? It's cop watching, not cop talking and interrupting, which is true.
Okay, but yeah, but that doesn't mean that it isn't somebody's wife at that company or boyfriend or significant other.
True.
In either direction,
No, you're absolutely
good or bad.
You're absolutely right. There is no foolproof plan. There's always going to be human error in that, and I think, and that's why I think that it is okay. I'm okay with cop watching, especially if you see them doing something wrong. But just to film them just because you're trying to make some YouTube money, no, I don't agree with that. I will never agree with that. Even if you're being cordial, respectful, all that good stuff, still there's no point in it. And you might be saying you're keeping the cops honest. Well, maybe at that given moment, but I mean, just I don't know. I don't see it. And anyway, so here's the voting. Is there any instance where it is okay to watch the police? 83% of you thought yes, there is an instance, and only 17% no. So right then and there, the auditors that think, oh, you guys don't think they're bad cops, and you don't think cops should be watched at all. You don't respect my right to film. You hate the Constitution. Well, this right here proves that you're full of shit, and you can stop saying that now. And some of the reasons people are saying, we got Washington police, however, it doesn't mean we can interfere with what they're doing. I agree with that. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Shout out to Adam.
What's up, Sasquatch?
Not much. Looks like I got either timed out or banned in your chat.
You got timed out or banned? What?
What?
Huh?
By who?
Oh, probably a Earl David Warden supporter.
I don't.
Oh.
I can't even see chat, so it wasn't me, Sasquatch.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I'm not
Wasn't me.
paying
I'm not a
I
mod.
guarantee you it wasn't me.
That's OBD.
You know who it was? It wasn't Tim either, because Tim is not a mod either. I don't think he's here anyway. Let's see.
No, he's
let's
not.
see if I can. Let's see if I can figure out what happened. Let me
You
see.
see, with great power comes great responsibility.
Don't you guys love the name Auditing Hookers?
All right, let's see. What happened? What happened?
What? They got to be held responsible.
How
too.
long? How long ago did it happen?
Oh, minutes ago.
I'm not
Who'd
seeing.
ban Sasquatch?
Let's hope it was a misclick.
It might have just been YouTube. YouTube's been doing that.
Damn you, YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not
YouTube.
seeing. It's not telling me anything. So I'm assuming it was YouTube. YouTube has been shadow banning a lot of people.
Sasquatch, what are you doing to YouTube?
Yeah,
leave,
right?
Leave him alone.
Yeah, it's probably
God.
YouTube. I'm sorry, it's probably YouTube.
Yo, YouTube's a tyrant, man. Somebody's got to go
I'm
hold
fighting
these
for your
people
rights.
responsible.
All
Yo, let's
right,
do a
so-
massive audit of YouTube.
Right? All right, so here we go. So this person says, I believe watching the police and filming them while they're doing their job is not a bad thing at all. However, it is a very bad thing to have the watcher / cameraman insert themselves into an interaction, taking the officers away from their job by talking or getting too close while filming. I believe the legislature should spell out exactly what is allowed and what is considered harassment or distraction. Right now, there's too much of a gray area, allowing some of these auditors to get away with behavior that, if done to anyone other than an officer, will be considered harassment. What do you guys think of that one?
I think that's just another way of saying cop baiting.
Yeah, just a big
Well-
fancy.
I think a lot. I do believe that a lot of the cop watchers, they want to make sure that they're there if something happens. But if something doesn't happen, they try to insert themselves into something happening.
What's up, Bird? How are you?
Well,
Great, guys.
I
Great. How are you guys
believe-
doing?
Not doing so bad. So we're just talking about we took a vote, and you know how, not you personally, Bird, but a lot of your fellow auditor cop watchers seem to think that we all believe that cops are all good, all knowing there is no bad cops and there's no reason we should watch them. Well, the voting here seems
Well,
Well, there's good cops. There's bad
counter
cops.
that.
They're
Well, I think
human.
there's good people, there's
They
bad
make errors.
people, right?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Not just one profession. Hold on.
So now we're just taking a look at some of the comments people were given their reasoning either for or watching the cops or not. So I'm not sure. I haven't really gone through every single comment. So that's what we're doing right now. All right, next. Adam also said, also, you have to be cautious when watching police because you never know if the person they're talking to is crazy and will end up pulling a gun out. This is true. Not just officer safety, it's for civilian safety as well. Because the officer can get some shit if he lets something happen to a civilian that was just kind of hanging out. So, you know, they've got to be aware of all their surroundings. And you being there, distracting them, not just by the film, not just because you're filming, but distracting them by David Badger, officer, you shouldn't be talking to this, you know, just film.
See, I disagree with that. Supreme Court has ruled that officers are not actually responsible for any individual's safeties. So, you know, if you insert yourself into any situation, whether it's filming and or just as being a bystander and watching, do not assume that that officer is responsible for your safety whatsoever, because Supreme Court has ruled they are not.
Well, then there you go. Then you're fucked. You're on your own then. All right. So next in the Alaska Butcher, John said, when they are arresting or assaulting Syria. Okay. Watching them and interfering with them doing their job is two different things. If you want to monitor them, then just sit back and watch. I would agree with that. You guys think?
And filming's okay.
Absolutely.
back and not being a part of it.
And then TGC Me 1, it's not the watching that's the problem. It's the interfering and instigating that usually goes along with it. It's people with no self-control and all the entitlement, thinking they know everything about what they're watching when usually they know nothing. Yeah, and I'm really sensing a theme here. It's like nobody has an issue with simply watching them. It's when they insert themselves.
Yeah.
It's when they
so
they
the
try
baiting.
the bait.
Okay, well, let's talk about that though for a second. So officers are professionally trained. Okay, they are given a set of guidelines and stipulations to follow, and if they're able to be baited and or tricked somehow or deceived somehow into making decisions that are counter to the very policies that they're supposed to uphold in the first place, I wouldn't blame that on the baiter. I would blame that on the officer's inability to focus in on the training given the circumstance. An officer should be professional enough, no matter what the distraction, to be able to see out the duties of his job, and or he needs to step away from the situation until he can, right? That's why we have backup. That's why we have SWAT teams. Sometimes it's better, instead of, pursuing a criminal, to allow that criminal to walk away long enough for you to reconvene and then go after him with the use of warrants, right? That there's processes for all this stuff. So I wouldn't blame the baiter here. I would blame the fact that the cop doesn't have the appropriate training and or isn't following it.
Aren't y'all always complaining about how much money we're spending? How much of the taxpayers' money is going to spending for all these cops to come out to this scene? And now you want to send a SWAT team to a guy's house with a warrant? Yeah, you guys, you.
Okay, well, I would say that if it saves an officer from experiencing serious trauma and or the taxpayers winding up paying out for lawsuits because they got baited into something, I would say absolutely. This is the thing. SWAT teams might cost a lot of money, but at the same time, if you have a suspect, that is ultimately going to cost you one way or another, I'd much rather see them do it as safely as possible than to jeopardize the safety of others and or the law enforcement officer involved.
If I don't have a member of the public walking into my scene yelling at me, then there isn't a problem. But if I'm on a traffic stop and I've got some guy with a video camera inserting himself in my scene, whether he says a word or not, he is now distracting me. No, I'm not going to let my traffic stop go home and serve him with a warrant for traffic violations.
I think you're missing.
No, I'm not missing anything.
No, I think you are, because I'm saying listen very carefully. If the situation presents itself to where the officers, oh my God, sure.
Hold on, let him finish.
No, it's quite all right. She doesn't.
I heard him the first 2 times.
But you just kind of misinterpreted and or misrepresented what I said.
No, you're saying that if a situation becomes too difficult for a law enforcement officer to handle, that he thinks that his life is in danger, that he should back off and let somebody else handle it. Police officers,
and that's not in reference to his. Hold on, that is not in reference to his traffic stop. He shouldn't let the traffic stop go because someone's interjecting. What he should be doing is to ignore who is interjecting until the backup arrives and or gets involved. And if he doesn't have that ability, then he should just leave that alone and then allow that to take pursuit later. Right? You put out the warrant for the disorderly. You put out the warrant for the harassment. You put out the warrant for interference with instead of letting it interfere with your traffic stop. That's what I said. Do you see the difference? Hold on. Do you see the difference between what you inserted and what I inserted?
I'm not gonna have a discussion with
you. Don't have to. You don't have to admit to it. It's fine. I'm not patronizing you. I'm just being very. I'm making sure we're very clear. No, I'm making sure we're very clear.
No, I understood what you said the first 4 times.
Okay, well then I appreciate if you didn't misrepresent it.
You have to understand the point of view from the law enforcement officer.
Oh, and I do. I don't think that is right.
Get.
Oh, I do. I don't think that is right for anyone to insert themselves into a traffic stop. Like you said, I think that observing that's great. You know what? From time to time I have. However, at the same time, I normally don't engage. I normally don't engage officers until they engage me.
It doesn't matter what you normally do.
Okay, so you showed me an instance where I inserted myself into a traffic stop that I wasn't engaged on.
How about the one with the poor guy sitting, the cops just sitting there watching the truck till the tow truck got there?
He inserted himself. I did not insert him into it.
No, he's already part of the scene. It's his scene. He
Absolutely,
can't insert
absolutely.
somewhere.
He engaged. Hold on, he engaged me and then sprung conversations
Why?
with me.
Because he asked you if he could help you?
That's interesting. So yes, he inserted himself. I simply said no, and I let it go at
Okay.
that. And then he inserted himself a second time, right? And that's the real issue, is when he inserted himself the second time, and then the whole conversation really started.
Well, because you said, no, I don't need any help. Why?
Well, because he probably didn't need any freaking help.
And guess what? Yeah, guess what? The officer respected that actually
Then you
at that
should
point
have
in time.
left.
I actually, that's funny because I actually walked from that scene, went and got a different angle. Okay. The cop
You were
left me
still
alone
at
at that
that
point.
scene.
Absolutely. Why? Can I not film it? Well, now you're saying that I don't have the right to silent film.
What's the point in watching him silently sit there in his vehicle waiting for
There's
a tow
nothing.
truck? He's not doing
There's-
anything. There's nobody there for him to bother.
He's doing a job. There's nothing wrong with me filming him in his official capacity while he sits in his vehicle waiting for a tow truck. Now, I didn't insert myself. He interjected and then approached me. Okay, I walked away. I left him alone. I walked back over to get another angle, and then he inserted himself again. Right now, that's where the real issue presented itself. And mind you, I was not interjecting with him. Now, I kind of knew that I was going to get the interview. In fact, you'll actually even hear me say, let's see if we can't get this interview. I didn't go and then ask him any questions. I simply was silently, or I shouldn't say silently, but I was keeping to myself and not discussing anything with him before he comes and interjects himself again. That right there is a distraction and a deterrent from his job, not mine. And it's my responsibility to work. I'm not sending any up safety issues, push a different narrative. That right there is not one scene. Okay, it's actually a good distance. Did not say that to him until after he interjected into it, right? He started yelling and screaming shit before told him that he needs to get away. To get the point that he starts yelling and screaming at officers instead of observing that he was ultimately the one that initiated the contact. He's the one that is now disturbing the interaction or the traffic stop. I see that as illegitimate. You know what I mean? So I see a difference, and I think that you're not recognizing, but I do recognize the difference between the two.
I think your mic was cutting in and out when you were doing it. I thought it was me. I thought there was something wrong with my connection. But I guess it was your mic because everyone else is having that issue too.
Yeah, you were
there's
kind
something
of
wrong.
cutting in and out.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, we got the gist of the point.
Now here's the thing, guys. This is what we're talking about here. I think what was going on here is the cop did respect the fact that he said, I don't want to talk. And so he went across the street and he started filming him. There's nothing wrong, Bird, with you going and filming like that. Does everyone agree with it? Hell no. Not a lot of people see a point in it. Not a lot of people want you to do that. But
do you see the difference?
Right. Yes, I do.
I like to separate it between like I said, when Freeman went and interjected himself into that traffic stop that got him arrested, he started yelling and screaming at cops. Then they told him to step back, right? He interjected himself. However, when I had my experience, the cops interjected themselves into my position and then, failed to, separate what they were doing from what I was doing. There's a much bigger difference, in my opinion, between, interjecting yourself and then being interjected into the situation.
Oh, absolutely. There's a big difference in that. And to the point of, not all officers are trained properly. I mean, that's just like any job. Not all stock boys, not all bellhops are trained properly. So it just goes to happen. I think there needs to be some sort of mandatory national training to kind of fix some of these issues that some police departments are having.
The Post Academy.
Well, okay, maybe there is, but it doesn't seem to be working all that great.
Nobody learns the same, and everybody interprets things differently, no matter how standardized the training is.
This
So
is
let's
true,
keep
which
that
is
in
why.
mind. It's not all on training.
No, oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely. You know, that's a very, very fair point. People do learn differently, and people's morals kind of differ the way they interpret things. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are factoring into this. Absolutely not just the training. Um, so what do you guys think are some of the ways we can kind of fix this, or at least not fix it, but improve the way police interact with people in general?
I had a couple things real quick for Bird, if possible.
Go for it, Taco. Sorry about that.
Hey, Taco.
Hello.
Hey, Taco.
Hello. You had talked about like we had kind of talked about police resources. One instance really came to mind was Joe Cool had brought it up a while back, was how cool it was when Eric Brandt called 911 on a whole group of you guys. I don't know if you were there, but it was when Joe Cool visited Colorado one time on some corner with a bunch of others claiming they had guns or whatever, something like that, and like SWAT came or.
Wow, I wasn't here for that.
I don't know the full story, but Joe tells it how all of these guys came with assault rifles and SWAT rolled up and drones were called and all this and that. Joe elaborates, fabricates probably a large part of it, but
okay. But nonetheless, what was the question?
But don't you see? This has happened several times where auditors are starting to use 911 system or other systems to get police resources diverted to them to get the videos and everything. Don't you feel that is resources taken away from the city?
Yes and no. If nothing else, I guess it's better training, because obviously the training that we're seeing isn't currently working. So where does the redress happen? Where does the policies change? And I would say that it happens in interactions and or the proceedings that follow afterwards often dictate the evaluations of what we consider to be freedoms versus privileges.
And then also, it was a little hard to hear you, but you had mentioned something about how the cops should deal with you guys on a later date with like the disorderly or something like that. Correct?
I think that if it becomes a safety issue or an issue to where they're concerned that someone is interjecting themselves into something and they can't control that and control their stop at the same time, it would be me if I were an officer per se. Okay, my first response would to tell my stop to hold there and sit tight, and I would go back to my vehicle. And I would probably, take my time to start looking up, some of the information I have accessible to me, to see, what's going on. I wouldn't attempt necessarily to identify that person by saying, give me your ID at that point, but I would be calling in for backup. Now, if backup wasn't available per se, and then the situation wasn't getting any better, I would literally sit there and I would wait long enough to direct my traffic stop into a different location down the block in order to proceed to deal with my traffic stop. And I would worry about that guy later, right? So I would first take care of my safety and I would take care of the safety of what I had going on, and I would leave. However, I don't see that being a valid, I don't see it being a valid reason to take that kind of action strictly because someone's filming you. I think though, if they start coming up screaming, fuck the police, that you have a much stronger case to say, okay, obviously there's an issue with this guy's opinion towards police, therefore my safety could be compromised. So I should in turn, make sure that I am safe and that my traffic stop is, fulfilled. If you can address it and you have the backup, let the backup deal with that while you continue to deal with your traffic stop. This is why we have 3 officers to every damn citizen, it seems, right? I know that's not an actual statistic, by the way. So I don't know. There's a different way that we can go about to achieve what we want to achieve without restricting people's freedoms and criminalizing them illegitimately, and then also holding those that are just fucking problems. Because I'll tell you guys this much: it's personally, I love James Freeman. I've seen a lot of good videos out of James Freeman. I've seen a lot of exercising of freedom and some positive things come from, the videos that he's created. And then I reflect on that one that I was just discussing a minute ago, where he interjects himself into the traffic stop and ultimately, bitches and complains when he gets arrested for it.
Yeah, that's pretty retarded.
Well, and it makes him look bad, right? But it doesn't just make him look bad. It makes me look bad. It makes everybody else that likes to film traffic stops and or have this level of accountability. And that's why I love Irate so much. Irate's phenomenal at this. If you guys actually ever get a chance, watch Irate, because he's almost completely silent all the time. Hardly ever does he speak. He's got great gear. He's got great audio gear, and he's documenting. And then he'll, maybe comment in the comment section about something, but outside of that, he kind of stays objective. This is what we really need more than anything. Now, understand that my situation is different than the next guy's. I don't really care about the police accountability, in a lot of ways, as much as other guys do, because I'm not trying to hold the sheriff accountable the same way that I'm trying to hold CSU accountable. Why? Because I haven't seen the sheriff department rate me for my rights in the same ways that I've seen the CSU PD utilize their authority to do so. So I kind of have a grudge there. So you'll have to forgive me when you guys see me giving these guys a massive amount of shit and I'm somewhat uncooperative, because that's my plight. But what you fail to realize is that a year ago, I literally arrested 2 individuals and turned them over under citizen's arrest for multiple felonies. You're failing to realize that I've worked with my local sheriff's department by running crime and safety meetings in my small rural community in order to obtain additional police officers to make sure that we had some type of enforcement in hours that we weren't having any type of assistance. There's no reason the cops should be 2 hours away, right? They should be at least within 20 to 30 minutes from your location at all times. Otherwise, what I'm resulting into my personal protection and having to utilize my firearms, and so we're kind of back to that, right? There should be rule of law, and cops should be able to do their jobs, but we also can't have open bias and the restriction of people's personal freedoms due to your personal preferences. And when I say your, I'm referring to officers.
No, and I think, well, I definitely agree with you on that. Nobody's rights should be suspended or anything like that. But back to kind of what we were talking about with the cop watching. You brought up a good point where you were talking about how, like in James Freeman's case, he really inserted himself in that call, in that traffic stop. I actually saw another instance of, there's this woman auditor, I don't even know her name because she made the video private. Anyway, so she brings out this little cheap ass megaphone and starts shouting at the cops that have some guy down. They're obviously arresting him for some reason. She makes this assumption that they're doing it for some nefarious reason. Why are you messing with him? Just calling, fuck you, pig, blah, blah, blah. First of all, that's probably a noise ordinance violation. And then, of course, I mean, there's the cops, obviously, they did a great job. They completely ignored her. They continued doing what they were doing, and then they left the scene. And she felt stupid and ended up taking the video down.
Great job on those off notes. And so the thing is, we have freedom of speech. If it's on a public sidewalk, you can yell and scream. Now, here's the thing about using that blowhorn. Yeah, it might be breaking noise ordinance, but at the same time, you're going to have a decibel reader in order to obtain that information and or evidence to suggest that. Otherwise, it's a frivolous ticket. And why are you going to make so you got to realize the one thing that no one's really talking about here in the auditing world that I think is maybe one of my pet peeves and something that I'm going to try to be more of an advocate for is that officers are now just filing charges. We call it, you can't beat the ride, but you might be able to beat the charge, whatever. Beat the charge, can't beat the ride. It is illegal, okay, and it's actually a felony for any peace officer, anyone that has taken public office, to file false paperwork and or so kind of like when I was at the CDC and they claimed when I was on the opposite side of the road and they're telling me that I'm on this property, but then when they write my ticket, they specifically use the CDC's location because the CDC's the complainant, even though I've never stepped on that property ever, right? And they did it to me twice. That is actually illegal as fuck. You know what I mean? And where we just
That's
ignore
not
that.
new.
Well, it's not new, but no one's paying attention. No one goes after that. No one wants to discuss the fact that these charges, by filing that paperwork and creating these false charges with false information, and these cops knowingly are doing it, that it is criminal.
Now you have to prove intent.
Absolutely, and that's
and the
that's funny
burden
that
would
you
be
say
on
that.
you.
I know. Well, luckily for me, actually, I have the body cam footage and everything else, and I have over 3 months of redress prior to my second incident where I got arrested. And so I actually have some pretty predominant proof that not only did they know who I was before they arrived on scene and were prepping for that, but they also arrested me because of who I was and because I was close to an area that they didn't like me trying to film.
Did they say
so
that?
I got. I'm going to release a bunch of stuff here soon. You'll be really surprised what they said. I'll give you this one. Fair enough. Well, here's one for you that
I want to
I
know
would
if those
think might
words
pique your
came
interest.
out of their mouth.
Hold on. Here's one that will definitely pique your
really
interest.
That's really hard to prove.
Hear what I'm telling you. Here's something that
look
may pique your interest. Okay. So what might pique your interest is when I arrived at the jail, the arresting officer was asked a question by the sergeant of the jail, and that is, do you have any issues with this person? And that officer's direct quote was, no, just that he is a constitutionalist. Okay. If you don't find that problematic or suspect, I would say then you're
no. How can you prove that he's not just joking? How do you know that there hasn't been?
All right.
You laugh like that's a stupid question.
Well, it is. And let me tell you why. No, let me tell you why it is. Because
no,
the jail staff at this point, no, because right now it was about. Okay, sure.
Hold on, guys. Let's have
I love you.
Conversation here.
Well, you're going to call me stupid because
I'm not calling you stupid.
Well,
I'm
you are.
You're
saying my comment was stupid. Therefore,
I'm not. I never used the word. I never used the word stupid, but I can tell you this much: when the sergeant of the jail when the sergeant of the jail is asking someone a question of that caliber while they're being processed as non-cooperative, that officer has to give the reason why that person is non-cooperative. So when that officer asked the arresting officer that question in relationship to why I was uncooperative and what my issues were, his reply was no, and that I was that his concern was that I was a constitutionalist. Okay, is his admission of why I'm being processed as uncooperative. Okay, that's kind of an issue in itself. Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Well, what was written down as reasons?
Verbally uncooperative, which has no definition in policies, procedures, or anything else. So
argumentative?
No, I would not call it argumentative.
Were you answering questions with questions?
I would not call it argumentative to ask an officer if he is just going to utilize a false address that I was never on my trespass ticket. That is, I would say asking that question is absolutely not being verbally uncooperative. Now, where I fucked up, or I shouldn't say where I fucked up, where things separate here is that I did not want to answer COVID questions and or subject myself to medical testing by someone that was not my physician.
Then you are being uncooperative.
Oh, well, that's funny because there's no such thing as being medically uncooperative, and there's also no such thing as being verbally uncooperative. No, not according to the facilities rules, regulations, and the fact that as an American citizen, I have the right. No, we're going to talk about HIPAA laws and the rest of that shit here now in a second. Because I have the right, and I have the right at time as an American citizen. Sure, okay. Well, I have the right as an American citizen not to accept medical treatment by a physician that I am uncomfortable with at any point in time ever.
No.
I can decline medical services.
In our state, you are required to give DNA and a piss test upon being booked into the facility. And if you don't, you are being uncooperative and will therefore not get a free
They draw blood.
call.
Everybody that they bring into your facilities get blood tests.
Some states have like you have to submit a DNA upon when you're arrested. There are some states that you have to give your DNA.
Yes, it's a buccal swab, and a piss test.
So anybody that hasn't been proven of a crime is subject to a DNA test.
Certain states.
I would say I would
prefaced
absolutely
my statement.
No, absolutely. And in my opinion, dude, that is not a just law whatsoever, and I would not ever.
Well, it has
cooperate
solved
with
a
it.
lot of crimes, rapes,
It's
and murders.
it's
Well,
it's definitely
that's
one.
good.
It's definitely one of those things that is questionable. There are a lot of states that if you're arrested and convicted of a felony, you have to do it. But there are some states where all you have to do is be arrested. And yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, she's right. It has solved a
Now,
bunch
I
of
think if you were
cases,
convicted
but
of a crime, if you were convicted of a crime and placed in a prison, I would understand that 100%. I would say take the DNA, take whatever
You don't
samples you
have a
need, and
choice at that point.
well, I would say though that at that point you are a convicted criminal and you've lost your rights. I still believe in the good old America where it's innocent until proven guilty, and therefore you should not be subject to the loss of your freedoms in the process unless it is absolutely necessary. So booking, bailing, yes. Unable to bail, you sit and wait. Outside of that, you should not continue to lose more and more of your freedoms unless you have been convicted for the very crimes you're being accused of. Point blank period.
It's
yeah,
not,
see,
though.
not it
Go ahead,
isn't.
Kenny.
There's a lot of places that aren't, but I'm with Bird on this one. I don't think just now if you're convicted of a crime, sure, yeah, you're fine, do what you do. But just being arrested, I mean, because let's be honest, not all cops are on the up and up. There's going to be times where they get what if it's a false arrest and they end up releasing charges. What are they going to do? Are they going to throw away the DNA sample after you're arrested? I mean, how does
No.
situations like that? See, then that's a problem, isn't it?
Why?
Because
They
now
can make
you've just taken an innocent person and taken away their rights.
and collecting their
No,
DNA.
it's not. Do you really think that all those DNA kits that you can get online that are supposedly telling you your heritage and shit isn't being filed?
And isn't it your choice? But isn't it your choice to give up that freedom or not?
Did they
Like, do
tell
I
you,
have to
though,
go
that
into
the state's going to
ancestry.com?
keep it?
They do.
Did they
They
tell
do.
you
Do
that
I?
the state
Yeah,
would
they
keep
do.
it?
They do.
Absolutely.
You gotta
They tell you
read
that the government's
Yeah.
going to have this.
It's in the box.
Yeah.
It's in the box, and I'll tell you why. Because I actually ordered 2 of them for me and my wife.
Then
And the
they
funny
already
thing
have
is,
your DNA.
no, because I read the small print and I chose not to submit them.
Oh,
and it's not every single
job.
one of them. There's like Ancestry, I believe, is one that doesn't do that because a lot of them.
No,
like
they do. No,
Do they?
they
Oh,
do. And not just that, but it's not just a state database. It's a federal database, and I would even claim that I believe it is a global database. But
that's how they caught the Golden State Killer. That's how they caught him through one of those databases. That's how they caught his ass. So just
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, that's how they caught it. They searched the database. It was a win. They thought, let's check it. They found like I think his daughter, and they caught him from there. And he sat outside of his house, dug through his garbage can, got his DNA off something, and done.
well, if you're doing some super bad shit with your DNA, dude, so be it.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, yeah, I see this as, so there's this thing where they're collecting massive amounts of metadata on people. I don't know if you guys know about the supercomputers that are hosted there in Utah, but it's supposedly one of the largest, if not the largest, station for supercomputers and metadata storage that has ever existed. Pretty much what happens is everything you do, every text message, every phone call, every time you cross a certain zone, and your GPS tracks you, all that information goes into a database, and that database is able to evaluate everything that they possibly can know about you. So if you try to do something stupid like go on the run or something like that, they have a pretty good understanding of what you know, where you know, and where you might potentially be.
Okay, there you go.
Right,
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
Technically, that makes a lot of sense.
What's up, Carl?
Oh yeah, I've let it wait.
Hey, Carl.
Hey.
Hey, Carl.
I was waiting while long.
Hey, guys.
Hello, Carl.
Hey, why I got Asian up here? I'm sorry, I was going to ask real quick though. Asian, why I got you up here? I wanted to touch base with you about hosting a particular show for me in the future. If you might be willing to consider it, we'll talk about it later though.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Let's definitely hook up.
How's he doing?
All right, so so I just want to give everyone we're going to move on here, but I just want to give everyone a chance to kind of give their kind of 2 cents on just closing statements on this subject here. Lavender?
Nope.
Hank,
I was on. It was just.
can somebody mute their mic? Whoever's got that background noise going there. All right, Hank.
No, I got nothing to add to it.
Okay, Gary.
Basically, no.
Asian.
What are we talking about?
Well, it
Go ahead.
started
Oh my
out.
goodness.
We were first talking about, is it okay, reasons to watch
Yeah.
the cops?
All right. So
kind
we're
of
still
involved.
right.
Kind
So
of involved.
again, I don't mean to repeat myself, but fundamentally speaking, we as American citizens have the right to film in public. More so if it correlates directly to our circumstances while in public, we have the right to film. Then moving forward to, well, is it okay to film cops? Again, I think generally speaking, the answer is yes. If you're in public, you have the right to film. That includes filming cops at a traffic incident, let's say. But at the end of the day, you can't become an equation. You cannot become a variable. You can film from afar and take the footage, but you cannot get involved. You cannot collaborate. You cannot get too close because now you're just impacting the actual traffic stop and you're taking the focus away. So that's fundamentally how I feel in general.
Bird?
I would only disagree with one point out of Asians, and that is I believe that the distance shouldn't matter necessarily unless you're all up in someone's face. I mean, 10 feet basic rule, right? At least in my opinion, I like to get 15, 20 typically, but rite of passage is different for different people. Despite my disagreements in a lot of areas tonight with Lavender, I would definitely agree with her on this point. It is bad to be interjecting yourself into the situation, screaming and yelling and becoming the distraction from an officer's job at any point. And that definitely creates a situation that I believe officers are impacted by in a negative way.
Carl.
Oh shit! I forgot what I was gonna say. Nothing from me.
Okay. So next, what we're going to talk about is something that's been going on with, the inauguration and how the National Guard has been kind of out there on different state capitals. Well, apparently recently there's been an issue at the Capitol, the conditions for the troops. Apparently a lot of states that volunteered to send troops to the Capitol to kind of help with security have said, well, we want our people back because there's no place for the troops to sleep. There's no food. There's just nothing for them. And it's good to see there are government agents on both sides, Republican, Democrats, conservative, all of them, they're coming out and saying, well, hey, we need to make sure we get this stuff for the troops.
I'm on a stream.
So I just want to get your guys' opinion on this. Me personally, the way I look at it is, when I first we were talking about the conditions, I'm like, well, wait a minute, these are our troops. They're used to a lot worse conditions, but at the same time, I think we should definitely have better for them and treat them with a lot more respect than what has been going on, especially when they're out there doing the job that the Capitol Police obviously couldn't do on their own. Lavender, what do you think?
I think it's a sad situation that the citizens of Washington or the surrounding cities aren't lending more of a helping hand as far as getting food in, blankets, water, whatever they need. That's just something that you do rather than supposedly calling troops out of there or saying that it's despicable that they're being treated that way. I mean, that's just nonsense. Nothing was said like that during Katrina when our guys were sleeping on cement floors. I slept on a cement floor for 6 weeks because there was no place to go.
That's a great point.
We had National Guard from Guam. We had officers from New Mexico, New York, everywhere coming down to help because everybody was so freaking exhausted, you know, and not to mention the stress that you're under with not knowing where your family is. Did they get out of town safely? Because nobody had phone service. So, you know, but nobody complained. Everybody pitched in, all different kinds of restaurants everywhere from out of town and everything. We're bringing in food for hundreds of people. Water was being brought in by the truckload. Somebody brought us, I think, 2 like semi-size generators to at least get power back on. And I mean, everybody pitched in. So I really think that if they're bad mouthing the way that the troops' conditions are, maybe they should rethink their position and try to help instead of being a hindrance.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're talking apples and oranges
Point.
in the treatment of the troops in a disaster versus international capital. If we would have put prisoners under those same conditions, everybody and their freaking mother would be crying in an outrage of how shitty they're being treated.
There were. Our jail had people in it.
No, that was a national disaster.
Okay.
In D.C., there was plenty of other places to house those troops other than being treated inhumanly by putting them in a sub-level of a parking garage with one toilet and one outlet available to them all.
Yeah, that's a good point, Hank. Go ahead, Bert. You're gonna say something?
You know, so I'm just disgusted with the fact that a military that supposedly is running operations and reconnaissance all across the globe cannot even support the very soldiers it sends to protect its home front, right? The capital, you know, of all places. And they don't have the provisions necessary and/or I wouldn't even care about the housing. Okay. Like I care less about the concrete floor. Okay. The fact that they don't have food and proper ability to piss and shit, that bothers me because those are 2 easy solutions that the government is supposed to be on top of when sending troops out to war. Understand this though, we're also talking about the troops were pretty much lined up for war right here in America, not once, but now twice. I find it disgusting that they consider Trump's use of the Guard in Oregon as an invasion, yet their use of it on Capitol grounds is patriotic and/or in support of the peace and transition of military power. These kind of terms fucking disgust me. But as far as being on the ground, as far as being on the cement, I'm on some. We put soldiers in much worse conditions every time we send them abroad, so that's not a surprise. And welcome to the job you signed up for. You are not. You're not anything but just another pawn in the game, unfortunately.
No, I agree, and I don't think the troops themselves are the ones who are complaining. It's other people that are complaining for them. It's I really believe that the troops are like, well, this is what we're used to, sort of thing. This is what we signed up for, that sort of thing. And another thing, remember, it's the National Guard. It's other states' National Guard. They're voluntarily sending these people to help the Capitol Police. They talk to the Capitol Police and they ask the Capitol Police, "You guys need help?" Like, sure. Well, do you have a place for our troops to stay? Oh, yeah, we're good. We got everything you need. Don't even worry. They're sending their people up, and they're coming to find out, well, the Capitol Police weren't exactly prepared, which is no shocker considering they weren't prepared
But that's not the Capitol.
most of the time.
That's not the Capitol Police's fault, though, isn't it? Isn't it the Guard's fault at that point from each individual state? We're talking about military operations. If we have 4- and 5-star generals that are ultimately signing off on the release of these troops, in addition to, whatever state signatures have to happen in the process. How come these people aren't looking at very basic and essential issues that surround, the support and utilization of those troops? It's ridiculous. It's an embarrassment to what we think we have as far as a supreme military.
Well, I think it's a failure on both sides, actually. I think you're right. It's a failure on that side, but I think it's a failure not only in Capitol Police, but just the whoever is in charge over there of who's in charge of the whole situations happening, the whole security force.
Why?
It's a failure all around. Because they told the National Guard that they told these people that they have the space for them. We're good. We got you. And then they don't.
Okay, but understand this. Has the captain of the Capitol Police Force had any experience in running military operations?
Then he shouldn't have been speaking like he knew what he was doing.
Well, I agree with you on that, but they also shouldn't be trusting someone who isn't paid in his public capacity to consider military operations on U.S. soil.
Which is why it's their fault as well.
Kenny?
They also
Go ahead,
have.
Hank.
I'm sorry, Hank. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the crappy thing people aren't being told about this is them being put in that substructure parking garage was a punitive action because the guards were lined up along the street where when the presidential motorcade went down, they all faced out, or a majority of them faced out.
To Trump or Biden?
To Biden.
Oh, shit.
And that was because of the way that they were getting FBI screened, and guardsmen that were pro-Trump were being pulled from the details for no other reason than they're pro-Trump.
Wow. Even though, and that kind of suggests that, we have people that have taken an oath that aren't competent to perform the duties of their job despite their personal opinions.
No, it's people in power getting butthurt, abusing the soldiers that came there to defend them.
I think we ultimately just said the same thing.
All right, so Asian, what do you think?
I'm gonna pass on this one right now, Kenny. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries, Gary.
Well, basically it just falls down to logistics. They didn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare because they didn't really know any of this was even going to ever be necessary.
Yeah.
It just seems to me like we just keep getting it wrong, though. You would seem that fundamentally these logistics would have been handled properly.
Well, you would think that, yeah, but when you got a large amount of men, you got a large contingency there. You didn't really know, and at that time they really didn't even have any idea how many they thought they were going to need. But they brought in the troops they, eventually thought they needed.
Hank, I think you served too, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so me, Gary, and Hank can serve. I'm not sure if you served or not.
No, sir. No, sir. Just like half my family.
Oh, well, there you go, half your family.
Yeah, I'm an Army brat.
I envy you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
All right, so Carl, what about you? What do you think about the things that are going on?
I really don't know. But I think it's all ridiculous.
Okay. Now here's I do believe it's a logistics failure on many accounts, and you're right, Asian. We just seem to keep getting things wrong. I think I heard this the other day that our government, our military, just everything about us. We're reactionary, and usually we react not enough or we overreact. We underreact or we overreact to a situation. And this is a time where, just like in Katrina, we underreacted. This situation, we underreacted. The war on drugs, we overreacted. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on either underreacting or overreacting. and it's an issue that we need to get. You would think we'd learn from history, but we never do.
Do you guys have a good example of when we actually used the right amount of force in a situation?
I can't think of any. Can you?
World War II.
No, I would suggest no. I think Hiroshima was taking it way too far.
Yeah. I think so.
But I can give one example that I believe, and I would say that was the first waged war pretty much against Saddam Hussein when Bush Sr. sent out troops, and then in 24 hours he called off the war.
But the war wasn't over.
No, it wasn't, and it turns out that way. However, I believe that it was an honorable decision, and at the time, given the circumstances, it was the right amount of force, and then it was ultimately not abused.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I think I see what you're talking about, but when you think about it, if you send in troops, I think he sent in the right amount of troops. He did everything. His issue was he got cocky and called it a win, and that was it, and it wasn't. So I think that's underreacting. It's the show. I mean, it was right amount of force. You know what I mean?
That's a good argument, Kenny. You know, I'm gonna have to assess that now, just to go back and reflect now.
I mean, actually, because you're right. Because he did. I mean, he did it in 24 hours. Said, "Dude, we're done," but they weren't done. So I mean, that's still underreacting, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. Just because it was Bush Jr. that decided to go back.
Well, it was a win because it was over for what they were there to do. They were there to expel Saddam's forces from Kuwait. As soon as we expelled the last of the troops out of Kuwait, it was done.
I thought, and that's kind of how I seen it, was that it was successful, and as soon as we achieved that success, we didn't extend our hand further. But I do see Kenny's point, because if you actually look at it, I mean, is the son's agenda the agenda of the father, or is it something completely different? And I would kind of beg to differ to think that the son's agenda was any different than his father's, because the father instills the thought into the son. So anyway, my thought is, yeah, it looks like a win, but it's quite possible that, you know, it wasn't enough force because it escalated later.
Well, yeah, I think the show. Well, but then again, think about it this way. But if they would have went in full bore, killed Saddam, then we'd be sitting here thinking, oh, we did way too much. But we wouldn't. But we'd say that not knowing what Saddam would do if we would have kept him alive. So you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's like a catch-22 there. It's like, well, do we just send in too much and get rid of him, or do we wait and see what he does and go back and fucking finish his ass off? Yeah, which is kind of like, but I mean, because think about it. I mean, that's what ended up happening. Bush was like, all right, you know, we're good. I don't want to. He didn't want to go overboard, which I get. Not everyone likes war.
Do you guys see a weird parallel that I see, as far as there's just this weird coincidence that we continue to engage in war with all of these different groups that at one point in time we have hired and or are in the process of hiring to do other things?
Yes. I heard something we funded? Didn't we fund Osama bin Laden? Gave his group guns and shit at one point.
Yeah.
I believe not just that, but I know for sure that during the Obama administration we left all kinds of Humvees and heavy mine-proof tanking operation vehicles, and I'm sure plenty of guns, ammunitions, because it was all cheaper to leave it there than to ship it home.
Well, I think he was referring to the Afghan-Russian war, where we did arm the Afghani freedom fighters.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
with a large group of them became Taliban after the fact.
We gave them stingers.
Well, I mean,
we gave them all stingers.
When you let a military force occupy your home, and then you see the death and destruction that comes to all you and your friends and family in the process, it's pretty interesting that you do anything other than join the very group that's fighting it.
Yeah. All right, so we really deviated from our
Sorry, that's my fault, man.
It was fun though. No, that was a good.
I gotta quit smoking so much weed, though.
That was a good conversation, though. That was actually a really good side discussion. I like that. That was fun. All But yeah, I think everyone answered pretty much. So conditions for the troops. Let's see, what else did I have? I think that's it. But now we're going to do open topics. This is for anybody in the chat that had anything they would like us to discuss, or anybody that's currently on panel that has something that they would like to discuss. Before I pass it off, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers, and I finally passed 1 million. I'm going to sound like Auditing America here. I have over 1 million combined views.
Wow.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Wow.
Right. So, Lavender, did you have an open topic you would like us to discuss?
Yeah. I was just kind of wanting to take a poll of the feelings of the chat and the people on panel about Amazon and the COVID-19 vaccines and the letter to Biden. Is everybody aware of what's happening with all that?
I am not.
No.
Amazon, the owner of Amazon, has sent a letter to Biden suggesting, under these unusual pretenses of, we'll be here to help facilitate the execution of the vaccines and blah, 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 but we want all of our essential workers vaccinated along, with the primary group. But we will provide, we've already talked to a third party medical team that will do it on site for us as soon as you're ready to let us start. So I'm not sure how I deem Amazon as essential personnel. But they're saying because they provided customers with essential home needs during quarantine, that they deserve to be one of the first vaccinated. Thoughts?
Well, I don't know, because it's like you're gonna have to me, don't you? They're gonna have to redefine the essential workers, I think, because right now, like anybody that works in retail, anyone in retail pretty much is essential right now, right? Correct? Like Amazon, anybody that works at the corner store, places like that, food banks, stuff like that. They're all essential. So, I honestly don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one. Hank, what do you think?
Well, if they're going to be pulling a significant role in the logistics of moving the vaccines around, the personnel involved in that moving the vaccine around, I can agree with them being essential personnel, but not. It shouldn't be up to Amazon to decide who's qualifies as essential personnel.
Right.
Right.
And the fact that he's like the only one that's done this. None of the other companies like who are Ship It and Postmates and all the food people that deliver us food so we don't have to go anywhere. Nobody else, no other CEOs of these companies have sent letters to the president asking that their people get vaccinated first or in the first wave or whatever.
Yeah, see, to me, it seems like he's trying to cash in a favor for helping get Biden elected. Like, hey, I gave you money, so here's where you fucking pay me back. And I think, honestly, if Biden goes with this, I think that this would be a bad first step for him as president, because people were tired of the same shit. They're already pissed off that a lot of people are pissed off that he is president. Now, if he goes in and does some stupid political bullshit like this, it's just going to further divide our country. Just keep it the way it is. That's what
I think he should absolutely say no. They'll have to wait their turn along with,
yeah, that's what I'm
everybody
thinking.
else. We need to stick with our plan.
I agree.
But that's just
I
me.
agree.
I know everybody else has opinions. So,
I
What's
agree.
up, Murph? What's up, Murph? How are you?
hey, Murph.
What's
Hey
going on,
guys, how
Murph?
you doing?
Hey,
How's
Murph.
everybody doing?
Hey, Murph.
All right.
Doing good. What do you think, Murph?
I know Bert is here. I just wanted to say hi to you guys and come up and support. What do I think? Like as far as with Amazon,
Yes.
what you guys are talking about? Because as I came up, I didn't actually hear the question. All right, as far as Amazon, I think they should wait like everybody else. Let them take care of the seniors and the people that need it the most. The ones that have been dying the most. Let them take care of them first, and naturally,
Agree.
the the, the, the first hand workers and all that. That's the way I feel. Amazon got to wait. They think because they're a big fucking company that they should jump ahead of everybody. I don't think so. That's the way I feel. They should just wait like everybody else and be patient. I mean, come on, New York. They stopped it Friday. They started canceling appointments. My mother's 82 years old. She tried calling for an appointment. They told her she's got to wait, and that's it. There's nothing we could do.
Yeah,
In my opinion, everything was left in the shithole, and now Biden's got to clean up the shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's see what happens and hope for the best. All we could do is we all got to stick by each other and be strong and fucking wait this out. And hopefully Biden will come up with an answer, or somebody will. You see Dr. Fauci, right? How he came out and said that Trump was like holding back what he really wanted to say and all that. So come on, a lot of crap got effed up while Trump, in my opinion, okay? I don't care if anybody gets mad. That things got really screwed up near the end, and Trump left it like that for Biden to clean up. So now we got to clean it up, and that's it. I'm not, personally, I'm not a Trump supporter, and I'm not a Biden supporter either. But I had to pick the two out of the two. That's all I had a choice of. And like I said, freaking Biden has to pull us together. Actually, we need to pull each other together, not Biden. We all need to do this. Biden can't do this by himself unless we all, as individuals, do it ourselves. We need to pull together and be strong and pull through this shit. Because once we get through this, I think we'll be back on our feet again. You know, this everybody splitting up and being divided Democrats and Republicans, in my eyes, that's all bullshit. We're all fucking one. We're all created equally. I mean, cut the bullshit. Fucking live and let live, love and let love. That's all I got to say on that.
I agree with you on that.
Thank
And
you,
I think
guys.
the big thing is we can't expect Biden to just fix everything in 4 years. Um,
Exactly.
just like we couldn't, no one should have expected Trump to fix everything in 4 years. Trump got
Exactly.
what
Yep.
he got. He got what he got from Obama, right? Obama got what he got
Yep.
from Bush. It goes back and back
Yep.
like that. Biden got what he got from Trump. Now, did Trump mess some things up? Some people believe he did. Some people believe he did. There's some good things Trump
Yep.
did. I think so.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
Biden is going to do some good things. I think Biden is going to be able to do some good things if he's given the time, if the Congress works with him. But we
Yeah.
cannot expect him.
Uh,
So we can't put how our country handled this squarely on Trump, squarely on Biden. There's more people that dealt with than that. You got Fossey,
No, you're right.
you got the medical personnel, you got how the police, how medical, just everybody handled it, and it's
Yeah.
everyone's failure.
Hmm.
It's not just one man or two men's failure. It's
Yeah.
this country's failure, this world's failure.
Kenny, let me ask
That's
you a
what I think.
question. The ones that, excuse me, wait. The people that stood up to Trump, what happened to them? They got fired. If they didn't agree with him and do it his way, a lot of them got fired. And Fauci, as you seen from what he was saying, he had to stay shut and and try to, to deal with Trump was telling him one thing and, he wanted to say the other. He said he feels so much better now that he's like could breathe now. Did you see when he was talking the other night?
Yeah.
Like he could breathe now and talk, and give his scientific perspective on it, And I mean, this is the way some people were feeling. I'm not saying it's all Trump's fault and shit, but people need to fucking speak up when they need to speak up, and don't be little bitches and cower out. That's the way I
I
feel about
agree.
it.
I
And
agree. But at the same time, look at
yeah,
it from this angle. Let's say, Murph, let's say you're running your own
sure.
business and you've got people coming in and they're saying, you're stupid, you're doing this wrong. Are you going to put up with that? Or are you going to say, you know what? I'm going to hire someone that's going to do what I want them to do? You're fired. You're in. That's what Trump did. I don't see anything wrong with him doing that. They weren't used
No,
to it. It's a different
I'm gonna
tactic
say
taken.
fucking. Come in my office and let's talk. Let's try and get somewhere. Not immediately fire them. If they came to
True,
me,
but what
that's
if,
what I would do.
okay, but
You
and
know.
then you talk to them and they're not going to change because they're set in their ways like most politicians are. You're just going to fire them, right? Because you're like, we can't see eye to eye. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you're just going to have to let
Yeah.
go. I
I get
need
it.
you to do the job I need you to do. So I don't have an issue with him firing people. I think it
Yeah.
shook the government up, and which is why the government wanted him out because he was doing things differently. He
Yeah.
broke the status quo. We
Yeah.
needed the status quo broken. We needed it done because our government the way it wasn't working, and unfortunately, it looks like we're going back to the same old shit. I still am holding out hope for a third party to emerge and get us out of this rut, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
Well, you know what? We are where we are now, and that's it. Trump's out, Biden's in. Let's hope that like I said, we all need to do our part. Biden can't do this alone. Trump couldn't do it alone. We all need to do our part, and just us fighting each other, Republicans against Democrats. To me, I see that so fucking stupid. I think we should just sit down at the tables, the big shots, and fucking talk it out and stay there until they come to some sort of conclusion. I mean, this fighting crap has got to stop. In my opinion, it's just
And
got to
I think
stop. We all need to pull
I think it
together and become one.
I think it would be nice, but I think that that's never going to happen. But I think under circumstances like a pandemic,
Yeah.
and like that's when they
Yeah.
should say, okay, you know what? We have differences, but we all want to fucking have a country to run when this is all done. So maybe we should come together. But they're not even doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's give it time. Let's see what happens. That's all I can
And
say.
I
I
don't,
just hope
I
people.
don't think it's okay to fire everybody that doesn't share your opinion. I think it's always good to have someone on your staff or around you that has an opposing opinion, just so it gives you that,
Yeah.
well, so you think it through. Not that they're not doing their job, they're still
Exactly.
doing their job, but they
Yeah.
have an opposing opinion on whatever you're proposing.
Well, I
Well, see,
agree.
that was Trump's biggest downfall of why he did what he did, because as he came in there not as a politician but as a CEO, a boss.
Right.
And if you don't agree with the boss, you're going to get fired. So
Right.
he surrounded himself with yes men.
That's a
And
good point,
that's not
Chase.
what politics needs.
Yeah.
That's
No,
right.
it's not. It's not. That's the thing. Trump wasn't a politician. That's what everyone forgets. They wanted him. He's in this role that's political, and they wanted him to act political. That was never going to fucking happen from the get go, ever. He was going to do what
Right.
he did and made him rich, and having yes men around him is what did it for him, and that's what he looked to emulate that success on the government level. Some things did great, other things didn't.
Right.
Oh, that's the way I
That's
seen it. The yes men, like, they stood by him, and the ones that didn't, say yes to him, they were out. That's the way I
pretty
seen
much.
it.
No, that's exactly
Anyway,
what happened,
we're
and
past.
it's of course
We need
it's
to
his
move on.
prerogative. It's his prerogative to do what he wants that way.
Yeah.
People didn't like it, but at the end of the day, it was his prerogative. They didn't.
Yeah.
There's no charges brought on him for doing any of that. So it's all good. He can do what he wants. I actually hope that that is something that some of the next presidents do take in a line. take into account. Like, if somebody's not doing their goddamn job, fucking fire him. If they're doing a shitty job as a CI director, get rid of his ass. You know. Anyway, so Bird, what do you think? What we were talking about the Amazon. What do you think?
Bird left. He's on a smoke break.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I'm
Adrian,
here.
what
I'm
do you
sorry.
think?
Did I miss a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, there
Oh,
it
we're
is.
talking about
That's
the Amazon thing. So, what do you think? Should Amazon be able to get their people to get the
No, the
COVID
vax
vaccine?
first. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say absolutely not. And I think that if Biden signs off on some shit like that, it's going to just show the power of corporate America being able to buy their way into whatever they want.
Absolutely.
That's another way to look at it. That's a good point. Yeah, so shiesty to say the least.
Hey,
yeah. Absolutely.
What do you guys think?
Gary.
Do you think Biden's leaning towards that way? Do you think he's leaning that way with Amazon?
I have no idea. I'm just learning about this.
Yeah, I'm just learning about it. Too. I can see him doing it. I can see him doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't.
All right.
I
We
can't
shall
say
see.
either
We
way,
shall
but
see.
yeah, it is very new, and I didn't see any response or White House correspondence response on it.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing.
Okay. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, it is. It's a new thing.
I don't believe they should get any preference over anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. Gary.
Carl, what do you think?
They should wait their turn.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
Great to hear you, Carl.
So Power Wagon believes that he
You're
will
welcome, buddy.
absolutely will cater to Bezos. I think he might. We'll see though. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he. I think if he does, it's just going to be bad. It's going to further divide the country. In my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I agree. It's going to
And-
cause further separation.
Yeah. And we don't need anymore. He's all this talk about he wants to bring everyone together. And if he does that, it's going to tear people apart. Just like this whole second impeachment is tearing people apart, even though we're supposed to be bringing people together. It's just, there's just a lot of, he's doing the typical politician thing, saying one thing and doing the other thing. It's more of the same shit. It seems like what we're getting within the first week in office already.
Right. And that is one thing that he is tempting Biden with, is Biden wanted to do 100 million vaccines within his first 100 days in office.
Oh, wow.
So Amazon's like, yes, I want to help you
We
facilitate
can help
this goal and all this stuff. And
that's a great idea. Can my people go first?
Yeah, we have
Wow.
being the second largest. I don't know.
Oh God.
We have 800,000 employees, and it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. All right. So, Hank, do you have any subjects you would like us to cover?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. Bird, do you have any tangents you would like us to go off on, sir?
I guess I could bring one to the table. Does anyone know how much money and/or where the money went when the Federal Reserve, along with actually Canada also, right, sent out a bunch of checks for the stimulus out to foreign countries?
No, I do not.
I'm sure it's
Do
somewhere.
we know how much you said?
Yeah, does anyone know how much money was actually filtered out of the U.S.? And out of how much money that was filtered out of the U.S., where did it go?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, I have no idea.
Well,
No idea.
I'll tell you what I did with my 600. I paid my fucking bills with it. I didn't go out and buy a fucking flat screen TV. I didn't go buy nothing fucking fancy. I paid my bills with it. That's what I did with it.
Well, do you have the answer for us,
I
Bird?
got a flat screen TV.
I don't. That's
My
why
bills
I
come
actually
first.
presented the question because I had no clue.
Oh,
Well, I know it was to a
Seriously?
lot of different
Yeah, neither
countries,
do I. But
and it was way more than what the stimulus checks totaled for America.
oh yeah, and that's the whole thing with the whole stimulus package for the 600. Yeah, there is way too much foreign aid to other countries when we should be worrying about ourselves first, especially during the pandemic. I mean, once we're stabilized, fine, worry about other countries. But fuck that. Right now, worry about us. If you're so worried about sending out money, why the fuck are you sending more money to foreign countries? That don't make no goddamn sense.
I agree.
Well, that's one of the things Trump I thought did well.
We should be first.
That's also the trade negotiations set up with other countries and the retributions that we still pay to other countries for what we did in the past. There's a lot of that money going out.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's a glaring example of when they're putting bills before to be passed into law or whatever, they stop needing to bury all their bullshit in with it and vote on separately.
Yeah. Yeah.
The stimulus package bill was over 5,000 pages long. None of the politicians who voted on it were able to before they voted for it.
That's true. I heard that too. Yeah.
The A1 community FOIA debt. What do you think?
It's about time I go, guys. I got a few things I got to do and some parental stuff I can attend to. So everybody have a good time. Thanks for having me. Sorry to disrupt in certain areas, and I was glad to contribute.
Good talking to you, Bird. All right, Bird. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, so Asian, you got anything you want to open topic to discuss?
No, just I've noticed there's been a lot of arrests going on lately. I think I saw someone's video about 17 arrests or 14 arrests in 14 days. And I heard Omaha accepted his plea deal out of Indiana, 9 months unsupervised probation, So sounds like a lot's coming to a head in 2021. Last thing I'll say is that last year, to me, 2020, the key word was hypocrite, and I think the key word for 2021 is going to be bully.
Yeah.
Did anybody else see the Keeping It Criminals vid for extra bad citizen getting arrested?
I haven't yet.
Oh yeah.
It's not that well worth watching.
Carl, you got anything you wanted to bring in for open topic?
Well, my God, I mean, 5,000 pages. Imagine how many trees they killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe one.
And they do all that.
Thanks for bringing that up.
And then they
Thanks for bringing that up
hide.
because that's something that we need to think about. I'm sorry, Rebecca.
They hide. It's okay. That's where they hide all those things that get passed that shouldn't. They keep it. Yeah, they put it in these lengthy reports that they know nobody's going to read all the way through, and it gets passed, and we end up with like the RICO law. So
true.
Could
you imagine if they actually read all this, how much time would go by? Like when they come out, like what you just said, 5,000 pages. I mean, come on, you don't read that shit overnight. That takes a while to read. If
Well,
they actually
surely
read
though.
this, maybe. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
And
surely they have unpaid interns that you read
Yeah.
this chapter, you read this one, and
Yeah.
report back to
Uh-huh.
me what it says.
Yep.
yeah, but
Yep.
it's not
Uh-huh.
like they have
Yeah.
a limited supply of
The
interns.
interns.
I
Well,
know.
20 interns. 20 interns. They had less than 48 hours to read the bill.
Really.
So unless you have a couple hundred interns sitting in your office, there wasn't a chance that it was going to get read first.
Right.
And they do it on purpose.
That's so
Yeah,
true.
they do.
That's why I'm saying that. Imagine if they actually sat down and read this, it would take a long time. That things wouldn't happen as fast as they do, whether it's good or bad.
And it's exactly how a
But
politician
naturally,
and gets paid less. I
Uh-huh.
think Congress is paid like 250 grand a year. Yet they can come out
Yeah.
after one term as a multimillionaire. Or you have your career politicians like Pelosi and such that are multi-billionaires off of our back.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Murph, you got anything you wanted to talk about?
I'm just scrolling through the chat. I see a few people saying that they want to buy new TVs and all that stuff. Hey, that's
Yeah.
all good and fine. You do what you want with your check. But me, I take care of my priorities first, and that's it. And think about the TV before you before you don't pay a bill.
Oh,
That's what I use mine for. I used it to catch up on my bills.
I'd like to get
Yeah,
mine.
$600 was a slap in the face, but it was better than nothing. Something's always better than nothing. Remember that.
All right,
That's all I
guys.
gotta say.
Well,
Thanks, Kenny.
all right, guys. I just want to thank everyone for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks, Lav. Thanks, Hank, Carl, Asian, Gary, Murph, everyone in chat. Thanks.
Thank you.
Does anyone have anything last? Go ahead. As everyone get a chance to go ahead and say their goodbyes. Go ahead, Lav.
I want to say hi to Carl and apologize for not saying hello when he first came up. I couldn't see him because of the
Banner.
thing you have down there in the corner.
Yeah,
like,
the banner.
yeah.
The banner. Yeah.
Yeah, the no names. The back. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Carl. I love
Oh, that's all right.
you.
I
And
love you
thank.
too.
Oh, thanks, Kenny, for letting me up, letting me talk. Thanks to everybody on panel for your opinions. Thanks everybody in chat, even though I can't see you. I love you
Plug
all.
your channel. Plug your channel. Plug your channel.
Yes, I will be coming
Lavender.
out with a new video. I promise.
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. This is like
Okay.
this is like the third week in a row that you keep saying, "Oh yeah, I'm coming out with a new video."
I
We'll see.
know. It's gonna happen, I promise. But
All right.
please go to Lavender Mexican.
All
Check
right.
out my
We'll
channel.
wait.
Thanks, Mark.
Hank?
Okay.
Oh, thanks
You're
for letting
welcome,
me.
sweetie.
Great having a channel where you can have the opposing views discuss their opposing views, and hopefully everybody comes out with better knowledge.
Absolutely. Carl?
Well, I love you too, Lavender, as you know. And melody advice, and you better now, hopefully, so do I.
Asian.
Just thank you again, Kenny, and the panel, and all the supporters down in chat. Thanks for sticking with us. I always look forward to this panel each and every week. And hopefully I look forward to next week as well, where I'm hoping to have a big personal announcement to make.
Oh, right
So,
on.
so have a great week. I'll keep you guys in suspense, but have a great week, guys.
Yeah.
Gary.
Yep.
I just want to thank you and the rest of the panel, and I'm just glad to be here.
Murph. The award-winning Murph.
Yes.
The award-winning Murph.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I just want to thank you, Kenny, for having me up here, and Lavin the Mexican for being here, and Hank, Gary, Asian, Carl Quincy. I love you guys, and the chat. I love and respect all of yous. And I mean, come on, guys, let's all chip in. If we all fucking work together, we can do this. We can make fucking America great again. If that's the way you want to say it, we can do it.
Glenn, we're just getting ready to sign off here. So, do you have anything last minute?
Hey, Glenn.
Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
You want me to
What's
buy
that?
them?
Technical issue.
Yeah, I think he is. Okay, well, we're getting ready to.
Hey, guys, really quick.
Stop talking. Go ahead, Murph.
I just wanted to say, Kenny, is it okay if I say after we're done here, to meet up at Masshole Report?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, guys, from here, please come over to Masshole Report. I'd appreciate it. Love to have you guys there. I'm not a part of them. I just love them, and I hope you guys love them too. Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely do.
I want everybody in chat and on panel to congratulate Kenny. His over 3,000.
No, not yet. I'm not over 2,000 yet.
Almost
I'm over 1 million
3,000 subscribers and over 1 million combined views.
That's right. Just like Ev, that's like my buddy Anna the America.
Wow.
Congratulations, Kenny baby.
In what, Kenny? Less than 2 years?
Yes, less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years.
Less than a year and a half. Less than a year and a half.
So congratulations to Kenny.
Congrats, Kenny.
And let's all keep spreading the word and getting his name
I'll never
out
forget
there.
that time bitch did told you. Go ahead. Kenny, I never forget that time bitch Titch said, remember, he blocked you and said, oh, you'll never be nothing and all that. And look at you. You're coming up. You're becoming big time, brother.
Yep.
He sure did. I was there when he said it. And I said, I told him, I said, you're full of shit, bitch Titch. You'll see.
Yep.
And there you go.
Yep.
You're rising, brother. You're going to be big.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. You definitely go over to Master Report, check them out. And I'll see you guys next week with another live stream. And I'll have a video for you guys tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.
I can't believe you two took that raving lunatic seriously. What do you think this is?